Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A for our Best of Japan Cruise 2026. It sounds like it's a far way away, but it is still it is still time to start talking about it. Um, Let me just see. I've got something here. Just for you, so you know, I've got Gina, my VA. She's in the chat room, um, and she is going to answer any questions that you have, any comments that you might have, um, or just help with getting any links. Now, let me bring in two of my ad right here. Here we go. We've got Ray and we've got John, both from RGE Travels. We're going to put John back in the green room. That's where he likes to be. So he's just going to say goodbye to us. It was nice seeing you.
Oh my God.
Oh, we treat him
Boy.
much better in person.
Yes, we do.
Fortunately, I've got a little bit of that cold that's going around everybody. It's just the tail end. So if I sound a little gruffier than normal, that is why. We've got Marty in the room. I think Marty's already on board for our Japan cruise.
Yes, she is.
And just before we get going, people might want to know, how was Scandinavia? And I can vouch for, I think, everyone to say that we had an absolutely fantastic time. Wouldn't you agree, Ray?
Oh, absolutely. It was a great time. Great group of people. Did a lot of good sewing with sewing machines. They were all happy.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Let me just show you. Here's the group. Everyone but Cynthia, Adrian, and her husband. Unfortunately, they were not feeling up to it. The last day at sea was very, very rocky, but I'm glad everybody made it, and everybody else was able to make it. And you can see we had a big crowd, and everybody's happy. We had a really good time. I'm just going to share a couple of other photos here because we had such a great time. We weren't above the Arctic Circle, but so we did have some sunsets, but you wouldn't believe how late in the evening this was. This is myself, my husband's taking the photo, and this is Tracy and Trevor from New Zealand helping me capture that sunset. And then KLM, they do everything well. I couldn't believe how wonderful their lunch baskets were, but I had to take a photo of that with all those beautiful Delft colors and everything. This is actually in Oslo. My husband and I rented e-scooters for the day, and we're going to be taking our success with the e-scooters and the e-bikes and applying that to our Japan trip. We've already investigated a little bit, but they were just so handy to get around everywhere, especially for people like him who have accessibility issues. And we were lucky enough to be there at the tail end of the tulip season. And we just had such a wonderful time there. And this is Tallinn. We had an extra day there. It was unexpected, but it was absolutely fantastic. Besides the chocolate, there was this beautiful old town that you could visit, and we had a good time. So, what was your favorite part of Scandinavia, Ray?
Chocolate.
Do you have any chocolates left?
Yes, and no, barely. You know what? By the time I was getting ready to board the airplane a couple of days ago to come back, I did not. I could combine what I had left into John's chocolate because he hadn't eaten too much of it, but there was still some room there. But I thought that was a really fun thing to do with the group that we were there in Tallinn. And I'd never made chocolate before, so it was, and I love chocolate, so I thought that was a great experience. The history there was good. Um, Generally on the cruise itself is just the camaraderie that we all had, the entire group had together with each other. I think that was the best time that we had.
Yeah, it's. I try to describe how one, quilters just all have something in common with each other, but two, how easy it is in this format to make new good friends. Um, we've sort of self-sorted ourselves so that the people that all come on the cruise have the same. Um, we're not identical. I'm not trying to say we're identical, but we
No,
have
you're not
similar
identical.
values and goals
Yeah.
for the trip, and it's just really easy to get to know each other. Now, I just realized my bracelets are making a heck of a lot of noise, but we had friendship bracelets for the trip.
Yes, we
Um,
did.
this is from last year's Fire and Ice, but Katie, our wonderful Bernina technician, she she made these ones for this cruise, and they say, "So at sea, just get it done." And then she made me a special one that says, "Trips, tips, tricks, and strategies."
Yep.
But that was fun. So we've got a lot of people in the room now. Glad to see you're here, and we're here to answer questions about the cruise next year. It's called the Best of Japan, but there's a little bit of Korea in there too. We start in Seoul, Korea. I'm just going to see if I've got a couple of pictures here to help set the scene a little bit here. So we start in Seoul. Seoul is an amazing modern city, and it is full of amazing things to do and lots of not only fabric to find, but it also has a number of other wonderful things. It also hosted the Olympics, so there are going to be Olympic Village uh, tours and things like that, as well as all their cultural references. Then we will be going to Jeju Island. Jeju Island, I understand, is a big destination vacation place. Um, Lots of what do you call it? Honeymooners. Honeymooners, I've
I
been
mean,
told, is a big honeymooning place, and lots of great things to see there. Now I have a map here. Let me see if I can pull up the map. Where did I throw that? I may need to throw it in there again. Sometimes these things come in and they disappear on me. Here, let me throw up the map. And where did that go? I need to throw it up here. Screenshot. Sorry, guys, here it goes. So as you can see, we start here in Seoul, Jeju Island. Then we go to Nagasaki, Kagoshima, Hiroshima, Kyoto, Mount Fuji, and Kyoto. Not Kyoto, Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Did you know that there's the exact same letters in Tokyo and Kyoto?
Yes, there are. I know.
Fun fact.
That's a fun.
Okay, so let me shut this down and start asking you some of the hard questions, Ray. What are the
Okay.
dates of the cruise?
The cruise itself departs May 26, 2026 for 12 nights from Seoul, Korea. And then it ends on the June 7th in Tokyo. But it's interesting on this trip because we actually arrive in Tokyo on the 6th and we stay overnight on the boat, on the ship as well. So it allows for, one less hotel stay if somebody wanted to do a post stay in Tokyo itself. We have 3 days at sea, and I'm happy to report that at every port, we're not being tendered. We actually dock at the terminal, cruise terminal. So that always makes it a lot easier.
Yes, I saw that. Um, where our cruise actually leaves from Seoul, though, right?
It leaves from Seoul, yes. Incheon is the airport that you're going to be arriving at. But yeah, that's the port of Seoul, in South Korea. Port of Seoul.
Port of Seoul.
So, yeah.
And they sell these as by night. The cruises are by night, right? We get on late in the day and then we get off really early the next morning
Early in the
for
morning, correct.
the final day. So that's 13 nights.
Is it 12? 13? It's 12 nights. 12 nights, 13 days. Because they
13.
always count the day that you arrive as the day. I mean, technically you're getting off the ship already at 6:30 in the morning, but that's day 13. So it's technically 12 nights. And when you do this, you keep in mind that you always board the ship around 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It leaves around 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And then it always arrives early in the morning. But like on this one, like I mentioned, we actually arrive on the 12th day in Tokyo at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you don't get off the ship then. You'll still get off the ship to do shore excursions, but you're not debarkate. There's no debarkation yet. That'll be the following morning. So that's something to remember.
Now, this cruise also does not have many days at sea, does it?
No, it only has 3 days at sea. So it is very port intense.
Right.
And I will say that intense because you'll notice that we arrive early in the morning. So a lot of shore excursions that Celebrity will be doing will leave early in the morning because some of the ports that we're going to, there's other cities that you might, or other places that are close by that people will want to see, and that's all part of the shore excursions that they provide. The only time that you're really, and we actually overnight in Kyoto, so that's a nice thing.
Yeah. And it ends in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because we only have 3 days at sea, we are not having sewing machines on this cruise, right?
No, we're not, but they're going to be. You're having a special guest teacher that's going to be there, Laura, that will be teaching something from Japan, from Korea, and from Japan, right? It's the
Yes.
special sewing, and don't
So
ask me to pronounce it, okay?
we
Because
have Laura Hedenberry from
yeah,
Laura Hedenberry Quilts coming with us. She's also part of the partnership that runs Prequilt. She and her husband run Prequilt, but she will be doing a hand sewing class on the Korean art of bojagi, and we will also be touching upon the Japanese needlecraft of shishiko. Um, Now, even though there's only 3 days at sea, we will be having more classes than that. We will be having 2 classes ahead of time, so you'll understand the history and what we're doing. And on the day that we embark, there will also be a shopping trip in Seoul to buy supplies to make the project. Um, and there'll be a couple of other things, but it's going to be hand based. So we're going to have a small space. Well, it won't be small when we have
no,
everyone together. We're going
yeah,
to have a room or a corner of a room in the ship where we will be having our classes and we will gather um, to sew, to slow stitch. We did this in Hawaii. We did this with Hawaiian quilting. We did
yep.
a lot of the work ahead of time, and then we gathered on a daily basis and sewed together. But on the sew days, there will actually be classes.
Yes, official classes, and you'll have official tables to be able to sit at with chairs and everything. So the only thing that's missing for those that have been with us is the sewing machines.
Yeah. Now, we've got a couple of questions here. Is Marty has asked. Now, Marty has been with me to Holland. She is a wonderful person. Everybody's going to love to have her on board. Is it easy to get transportation at the ports outside the celebrity tours?
Yes, there is. There's always taxis. There are versions of Ubers as well. And for those that don't wish to do, depending on what you're doing, let's go back to that. Depending on what you're doing when you arrive at a port, if you're not doing any excursions with Celebrity, there are other operators that provide type of transfers and shore excursions and tours of the port that we're actually visiting. So that is all available, and we can provide more information on that as well too if you're not interested in anything that Celebrity is providing. But I will say this: if you are doing a tour on your own in whatever port that we're at, and it has a private transfer or other type of transportation, that always be mindful of the times when you're supposed to be back on the ship. Because the unique thing about if you do book a transfer or a shore excursion with Celebrity, they guarantee that the ship's going to wait for you, where on the other side, they don't. And if you miss the time for the ship to board the ship before it leaves, it's up to you to get to the next port to board it.
Right.
So that is something that you want to really remember. But they have what is that, Karen, that we saw
Do they
in?
have shuttle buses like they did in Scandinavia?
Yes, absolutely. They'll have the hop on, hop off buses in all these cities. Trust me, they're set up for tourists.
Now, a lot of people use the hop on, hop off buses in Scandinavia at those ports of call, and they've really enjoyed those.
Are celebrity tours crowded? They have general ones where you have a bus that holds 45 people, and it just depends on what time you're leaving on on that particular shore excursion. But they also have private ones where that it becomes they're also small group shore excursions. But like I said, they're probably not going to be showing all of their excursions right now because we're like almost a year away from departure. But they
360
will.
days.
Yeah, we still have plenty of days for it to come through. So, yes, they will have also other tours available that have smaller groups. I think Marty was asking that as well.
So we have Shannon Thompson here. She is already booked on our trip. She says this will be her first cruise. Are there resources you can recommend to help me prepare? For example, is there a specific YouTube creator to follow or a website to visit?
If you're just Shannon, welcome. And we know you, Shannon. We've been going back and forth with you. That's who we are, because that's why we travel with you as well. We go on the cruise with you. We will prep you all the way to probably just a few days before you actually leave on your airplane to go to Seoul, Korea. We will give you all the informations about cruising, and you've actually picked a very good cruise line for your first cruise. Karen had her first cruise on this cruise line as well to Alaska a few years ago. So any questions, we will provide a lot of information. This is just the first Q&A about the trip. Approximately 120 days before departure or a little before that, we'll start giving informational emails about visas, if you need visas, what to do on embarkation day, what is included. Your RG invoice will also already say what's already included, but we will remind you, because everybody that books with us on this particular cruise, because you have to book through us to go on this cruise, you will have things that are included that some people on that same ship may not, i.e. there will be your Wi-Fi that's included, your basic Wi-Fi, your gratuities, because as a first-time cruiser, it's a how do you call that? It's a normal for gratuities to be paid to the housekeeping staff, to the wait staff on board. Well, Celebrity has wrapped that all up into one type of a charge, and that is already included in your cruise fare. Your food is included in the complimentary venues, as well as your drink package, which a lot of people will say, well, I don't drink alcohol, but you drink coffee, you drink bottled water, sodas, things like that. That's all included. And up to $12 for liquors and things like that is included, and it's unlimited. So the reason why we do that is we do not like our customers to be nickeled and dimed once you get on board the ships.
Well, I also find it very inclusive. Like if you end up, I've been on a trip a couple of times when I'm on a certain package and somebody else is on another package, and therefore we can't do everything together because the packages are different. Um, I like the peace of mind of not having to worry about all those extra. Do I tip? Do I don't tip?
Right.
Can I have this glass of water? This
Exactly.
bottled water, or
Or bottled water, as we learned before. Yeah.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, it is it, it's it is overwhelming. I will give you that for anybody that is their first time cruising, but that's what we're here for. Ask us questions. Best way is always to email us at info@rgtravels.com, because we're always monitoring that, and we always will respond within 24 hours or less. But please know that we will cover everything so that you are well prepared for your first cruise.
Now, another thing that you do is you help with special needs. So whether it be accessibility or allergies and things like that, I find that you have been very good working behind the scenes, making sure, people have the right permissions to bring on a CPAC machine and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so anybody that requires, is a good point. Anybody that requires or has mobility issues or mobility needs easier mobility, we have capabilities of providing or obtaining for you. Of course, it's at an extra charge, but there's some people that sometimes feel comfortable that they want to have a scooter on board the ship, and then it gets delivered to the stateroom, and it's waiting there for you when you get on the ship. And then when you leave, you just leave it in your stateroom, and it gets returned to where it came from. We can arrange for all of that. If you have special diets, if you have allergies or anything like that, CPAPs, what will happen is we will start asking about that at a particular time and repeating that until we get all the information so that everybody is aware of that at the cruise line.
Right.
How about
Um,
medications that are not allowed in Japan? Gail, that's a good question. Um, I wouldn't know what type of medications that are not allowed in Japan, but normally if it's a prescription medication, it is allowed.
I don't know about the cannabis laws.
Yeah, I don't either. And then will there be a single supplement if you're traveling by yourself? If you apply to go ahead and you want to register or you want to get information, you just ask us. And what we will do is it'll depend on what stateroom category that you book. We have exclusive group rates right now for double occupancy on concierge veranda staterooms. And then we have ocean view as well as inside staterooms. So if you want to know what it is to have your own type of stateroom on your own with no roommate, you just let us know and we will give you that price. It will be different than what's on the flyer itself. Now it's unique. The concierge veranda stateroom is unique because we up our game a little bit for Karen on this one, because when you board on the ship, if many of you have cruised before and some that haven't cruised before, there's lunch always being served on the day that you're boarding there. And normally that is at the Ocean View Cafe, which is a buffet. Well, with concierge veranda, there's a special lunch just for concierge in the dining room on boarding. And it also gives you priority boarding, debarkation. You have access to your own concierge that can do all the arranging for you. If you wanted a particular shore excursion and the shore excursion doesn't show up, that's you don't like the one that's on Celebrity, they can get you one and find you one. That's what a concierge will do for you. They do all of that for you. You also get afternoon appetizers delivered to your room every afternoon, and you have specific. There's a whole list of things. There's sparkling wine. There's also a special embossed key holder, larger beds. Most of the rooms will have a sofa in it as well. And you get your preference on shore excursions as well as priority for debarkation for the shore excursions if you're not on a shore excursion yourself. There's so many different things. It is just a nice added service that concierge does.
Now we are going to be on Celebrity Millennium, right?
That is correct. The
And
Millennium.
Millennium. So that was the one that we went to Alaska on. That's the one we went through the Panama Canal on. Have they done anything to the ship recently? Have they changed
It
their?
has been they call it revitalized. There's a special word they did, but what they've done is they've put on the retreat. They've upgraded everything because the Celebrity Millennium was the flagship of the fleet. And the reason why they keep the Millennium class, there's the Millennium class, there's the Edge class, and the Solstice class ships. The Millennium class ships can get into ports where the bigger ships can't get into. And the
Right.
Millennium class is more of your traditional cruising from, it's a smaller ship. It's still 91,000 tons. It's still a big ship. But for those people that have been on the Solstice class, like the Eclipse, it can actually fit into that because the Solstice class is about 115,000 tons. But it is a beautiful ship, very remnants with the old wood in some of the bar areas and things like that. I find it a very classy ship. So, I mean, and it's very comfy, very comfy. And yeah, what I like about it is because it can go into ports that the bigger ones can't get into.
Okay. Okay. Um, oh, Sudafed is banned in Japan. I had no idea.
Do we even have Sudafed in America still? I don't see it packaged in the red tablets anymore. The happy pills or Sudafed are things not alone. I love this group. Okay, this is going to be
Now,
fun.
we have not planned the excursions yet, but there's going to be plenty of opportunity for various. We're going to be looking at things like indigo dyeing, dealing with all that beautiful silk, the sericulture in Japan. Um, of course, we're going to be learning some of the skills in the class of Bojagi and Sashiko. Uh, I get the accent. I keep pronouncing it the Canadian way and not the
I'm letting
Japanese
you
way.
do that. You do well with that. Yeah, that's a good point because, like you said, it's we're still in the planning stage for the what we call a pre-cruise tour. And for those that have traveled with us, know what that is. That's basically you arrive there a couple of days before. There's a hotel provided. The hotel's there. There's a transfer from the airport to the hotel, and then we do a special city type of a tour. Like Karen is saying, we can do a particular class if we wanted to do that, and it also combines see museums. We have nice little lunches, and then the day that we actually board the ship is normally when we do what we call our shop hop, where we go into particular shops in Seoul. And I know Karen's looking at that, but some people may have some ideas of their own that want to go to Seoul that know some shops. We will actually stop there and we do some shopping. And then the final thing is we get dropped off at the cruise terminal to board the ship. That is still in its planning stage. Also for Tokyo, we're doing the same thing, but it's going to be one extra night because we're staying one night in Tokyo on board the ship. But we're doing the same thing there. It's going to be a hotel, transfer to the hotel, do a little tour, shop hop, specific things that we want to see. I know Karen wants to see a particular store that we're in
Department
Tokyo.
store, a department store of
Department
stationery.
store. And then also transfers to the airport for our trip home back to the United States or North America. Hi, Barbara.
Hey, Barb. Barb, I'd like you to meet. They're already in the chat. We've got Shannon Thompson and we've got Marty Benich, and they are both going to be on the cruise with you. And I don't want to say this too pushy, but we've already sold half the spots.
Yes, we have.
We're already half booked. That is from people who were on the wait list and from people who were just in Scandinavia with us. Yes, we're already half full.
And thank you to everybody that was patient and waiting on the priority list. We had to give our people on the Scandinavia trip the opportunity to tell us if they're going to book or not, because that is part of the benefit when you travel with Karen Brown and us, is if you're on the trip and we're announcing the next year's trip, you have priority there. And so that we got the info to you as soon as we were able to. And now it's open to the general public.
Now, I kind of interrupted both of us there, but just to give you an example of what the pre-cruise tour will be like. When we were in the UK, we did a tour of Greater London and the downtown spots. So we got to see Buckingham Palace, we got to see St. Paul's and Winchester Cathedral. We stopped in a couple of different places and we had a high tea at, was it the Dorchester?
Yes, was the door.
High tea at the Dorchester. We had a shopping opportunity at Liberty of London. And then on the day that we were going to the ship, which was in Southampton, we went to Stonehenge and we went to K&B Sewing. In Amsterdam, we went to the Keukenhof to see the tulips. We went to the can't pronounce the name for the windmills, but we got to see all the
Zan,
windmills.
Zanziskans, yeah, Zanziskans. Yeah.
We had a wonderful lunch there. Then we went off to the cheese factory, and then on the morning that we boarded, we had a tour around downtown Amsterdam, and then we ended up at Petra Prin's quilt shop, and then we went on the boat. So it's helping you see all those main sites of the port city that we're leaving from, with a shopping experience attached to it.
Sure. Got to do that
Because it's all about the fabric. We did have a couple of people buy extra suitcases.
Yes, they did.
Get
Yes,
home.
they did.
Oh, so if there, I'm just trying to think, is there any other questions that we haven't covered? I know that you do such a good job behind the scenes, because it's just so effortless for us on the boat. Everything just runs so smoothly that we know that you've been working so hard behind the scenes. But we do have people that have food allergies, and we've got a very specific what you make sure that all the restaurants and all the opportunities that we have to eat, people are made aware that we have those.
Yes.
They know that ahead of time before we get on.
They know that ahead of time, and we always let you know, and we'll remind you even when we're on the ship or on the bus before we get to the ship. Whenever you're eating someplace, you always remind the staff. They have been informed about it, but it's just back up to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see.
And I know you did that one. We've already talked about it, but renting that scooter. I know Linda just found that light and day, just her enjoyment of the trip with her
And you know, I see that Madeline's saying she uses a walker, and she says she wishes she could go on a cruise with us. How would I say that, Karen? Mobility issue is not an issue for us. So it's like, you know, if you're a slow walker, so what? You're a slow walker. You come on board to enjoy it. It is your trip as well. We welcome that. We understand that. Our motto is that when you travel with us, you don't travel alone. So, yeah, just because you have a walker doesn't stop you from doing it.
hand pink waving person turquoise.
Waving person turquoise.
I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean, Madeline, but I know that we had at least 5 people with accessibility issues on our last trip. And, you know, there's different ways in different places and different types of approaches with it.
Yeah, and a cruise basically is what you want it to be. So you don't have to be running around, you know, got to go. If you want to do that, that's okay too, because there's plenty of things to do. But a cruise vacation is all about doing what you want to do. And that's what we really like to stress. Now, if we don't see you a couple of days, don't be surprised if we give you a ring and say, everything okay? Because that's what we do. Dr. Pepper, Charlotte, that's an interesting thing. Yes, you can bring your own sodas on board, but remember, you're going to be putting that on an airplane all the way out there, because I don't know if Japan has Dr. Pepper.
So there's no rule of non-alcoholic beverages?
You can bring 12 cans per person.
12 cans per
person. So if there's 2 in there, you can always say 24. And that's for non-alcoholic beverages. Bring your hand sewing machine. What's that?
Your hand
what is that?
Janet wants to know, what is the total number in the group? Well, that's a funny number, because it depends on how many people are coming in doubles and how many people are coming in singles. Now, one thing we haven't talked about is if you are looking for a roommate. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it right after this call. We have I have a group on my Facebook page, but the next cruise. Right now, it's going to still say the best of Scandinavia, but I will change that right after this. And that is a good place for you to find a roommate. Now, if you let RGE know that you are looking for a roommate and you give them permission to share your contact information, they'll always ask you first. I know that. They will set you up with some other people that you can talk to, and you make the decision on whether you want to pair up.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Facebook group page that Karen will set up, we will always send that link in our inquiry response emails so that you can join it. And that is an excellent place for you to look for to post that you're looking for a roommate. If we should happen to know that somebody has already sent in their registration, because we have those type of people that want to make sure that they're going, so they'll send their registration in already, knowing that nothing is booked until they have a roommate. We will know that. And if somebody all of a sudden comes and says, I'm looking for a roommate, we will ask permission, like Karen says, and say, is it okay to exchange, introduce you via email? And then you talk to each other, maybe call each other, FaceTime, whatever the case may be. And if you decide to roommate, then you just let us know. Both of them have to let us know that you've decided to roommate and you have a roommate then.
Yeah. And Celebrity will keep your accounts separate.
Correct.
So you don't have to worry about that. Sue has asked, where do I find the itinerary and the costs, and where there'll be classes on board? So, yes, I've talked about the classes already. We're not going to be having sewing machines. We are doing a class on bojagi, which is the Korean art of slow stitching, and sashiko, which is the shashiko, which is the Japanese slow sewing. Where do you find the itinerary and the cost, Ray?
You can email us at info@rgtravels.com and ask for it, or you can go to our website at rgtravels.com.
And there's also my website. So if you go to my website and you look under events, you can click on that, but you can also just go down the screen and there's the Best of Japan. I got to change that to 12-night cruise, not 13-night cruise. Sorry, it's a 13-day cruise. And you can ask a question, you can download the brochure, or you can directly book from there. The 3 different forms are attached there. And if you want to go straight there, you just click on the events button, and these are the various events. And don't talk, unfortunately, if anybody was interested in Indonesia, that one is sold out.
Yeah.
We're done with, I'm really looking forward to that one. So, yeah. So that's how you find out more information on this trip.
And also, if I may, Karen, I just want to let everybody know, because that will come up in questions as well. We're a year out from the cruise departure. I know a lot of people will be worried about what about flights and things like that. We don't do flight. We will help you with everything. It's up to you if you want us to do your flights. We'll provide optional travel insurance quotes, or you can get your own travel insurance. We're a full service agency, as well as tour directors that we actually escort the trip itself. But we strongly suggest that you do not book your flights until your cruise is completely processed and paid off, which is usually about 120 days prior to departure. And by then, 120 days prior to departure, we will also have the pre-cruise tour as well as the post-cruise tour. Pre-cruise is going to be in Seoul, and then the post will be in Tokyo, plus the finalization of the classes and things like that.
Yeah. And I guess I don't think we ever answered the question of how many people are on the tour. It does vary depending on how many singles and how many doubles, but is it 50 or 60?
60.
60 is the max.
Yeah. Now, if we see that we need to do higher than 60, we can always go back to the cruise line to ask for additional group pricing for that. But yes, right now it is capped at 60.
Great. Okay. There was another question that I just thought of. Oh, my poor brain. It does not hold anything anymore. I've got to write everything down. Um, no. So we're 360. I know what it was. It was when we begin to gather as a group. Long before we ever arrive in Seoul, we will begin to gather as a group. Not only if you're traveling and getting a roommate, but we will have. When will we start? Will it be just after January, or will it be in November? Because this is a slightly later cruise this year.
That's a slightly later cruise. We usually start our Zoom calls. What Karen is talking about is we usually have guests like this, a guest Q&A, but we get to see everybody and they talk. It's for the people that are booked on the cruise. We'll start doing it no later than 120 days prior to departure is our first Zoom call. Before that, you'll have tons of informational emails from us, and we will go over a lot of the information on these Zoom calls, and then there's the opportunity for Q&As. And then we have a second one approximately 60 days prior to departure, and then the last one will be 2 weeks before departure. And then, of course, there's always informational emails that continue to keep you informed.
Yes, and then we'll also be having the pre-cruise classes for the
For
majority
your
as
swimming
well.
classes, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just checking here if there's anything coming there. No. And if that is it, again, you can contact the guys directly through their website or just go through my portal there and ask a
Yeah,
question.
that'll be the easiest. Yeah.
You guys are always working, doesn't matter where you are in the world. I guess you're out of contact when you're on the planes, but other than that, you're always available to answer questions.
Absolutely. And we would love to welcome you aboard.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you guys, everyone that showed up, Barbara, Marty, and Shannon. I am so excited that we are going on this adventure together. I know you've been on a couple of them before, so you know what to expect, but Shannon, I think, is a newbie. So,
Yeah.
and thank you, Ray and John, for being here and being such amazing tour operators. I'm really, what is this? This is going to be our 6th trip together?
One, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's more than yeah, yeah. We've been doing it strongly since 2021. So, when we were doing the first one to Alaska with all the COVID measures in place. So
And we're back on that
protocol.
ship again. This is like a full circle moment almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Sue, the prices are in US dollars.
Prices are in US dollars. Thank you again. Um, so this is all, this is all going to be up on my website for you to view and answer questions. And don't hesitate to call in with any other questions that you might have. It's going to be so much fun, and I hope that you will join us. Take care.